Morning. Here we go, another brew day. I'm going to try and do a rye beer today. Not done one before, so I'm just being a bit wary with the amount. I've done a recipe with about 22-23% of rye in it, and I'm just aware that sometimes you get stuck mashers, as we've probably all read in certain books. But some of the recipes are with up to 50% minimum, so I'm just going to see how I go with my first one, just be a little bit steady. I hate stuck mashers, as you know. I've had the problem with the finely ground malt, which is what I'm actually using in this one down here as well, and I've also got the rye in as well. So I put 300 grams of oat husks in. It's still initially starting to stick, but usually a few stirs and I've got away with it, but we'll see how we go on this one today. And so hey, see where we end up with it, and we'll just carry on. Just show you the mash at the moment. Yep, as you can see, it's it seems to be running okay again now, but I'll just keep my eye on it for 5 or 10 minutes, and I'll show you the recipe and grain bill a bit. Well, not the grain bill's already in, but I'll show you the recipe a bit later on. Thank you. Recipe for the rye beer that I'm doing, and there's the hops. That's 12 grams of Target, 30 of Fuggles, 12 of Cascade, and half a Werflock. Much easier brew to do, but as you can see, we've got things going. The mash has been a bit, I won't say sticky, but it's not been as free as it should be. So I've still got a little bit draining into a bucket from the mash, well, what they call it, mash cylinder. First edition. This is 12 grams of Target going in right now. I've used leaf hops all the way through on this one, mainly because it's what I had left, and I've got some old hops I need to start and use up anyway. So that's in, and then we'll just do the other additions later on. Just thought I'd show you this. This is the mash afterwards. It's like cement. Now I didn't have too much of a problem. It was a bit sticky and it was slow running. But I would think if you start going more than that, 25%, I think you're into some serious stuck mashers, unless you take some real preventative action with rice hulls or oat husks. I mean, I can't get hold of rice hulls, but oat husks, and I've used plenty in. I used 300 grams in there, and we just about got away with it. But just beware of that. Just adjust it a little bit. Well, here we are, another brew day, over and done with. As I said, I've done this rye malt, first time I've ever done one. Did have a few minor issues, nothing major, but we did have the part of a dreaded stuck sparge, but it did run through, and I think I lost, well, I didn't lose any efficiency. Actually I ended up 1 point up, but it could have been more efficient, because I could tell when I had the grain there was still a lot of moisture in it. It was heavier than normal, and I didn't sparge with as much water as I normally do. I ended up 2 litres down, but my gravity was well up, so I back liquored it 2 litres to 23. We'll have to see how this one goes. I've never tasted one really, so I can't have nothing to compare it with, so I think I'll have to probably buy a commercial one once I've got it, and just to get an idea. But I've done it as a pale ale scenario, English style, not the American style, which everybody seems to be doing with the American hops. But I've done Fuggles, Target is bittering hops, and I put a little bit of Cascade in just to give it a bit of zing, which I believe is what they use in Hobgoblin, just to give it that little bit of extra zing to the taste. And we're going to also do a small dry hop with this, not a major one. 10 grams of Fuggles, and I think I'm going to put about 5 of Cascade in. I don't want it the reason I've liquored it back is I don't want it to be strong. I want it to be a true session ale, so we can get stuck into it, if you know what I mean. So it's gone reasonably well, in fairness. Like I say, we had a few issues, but nothing we didn't expect from reading up on what other people have done. So 25% roughly on the grain bill. If you are going to do one, what I suggest you do is you do use some oat husks. I use 300 grams in it, and it did help a lot. But as you'll probably see when I'm trying to edit in the previous bits, you'll see that it was like cement was the mash at the end. So that's what I would suggest. I know some people have done it with 50 and above. By Christ, I don't know how they get that to run through, but obviously I think you would need a lot of oat husks to get that to run through, or you're just going to be spending hours sparging, etc. But it's a new one to me. Probably a new one to a lot of yourselves as well, I would think. Some of the more hardened people have already done one, but I think it's the I'm not saying it's going to take over from IPAs by a long way, but I think it's one of the new trendies that will start to creep in a little bit. Will the rye beers. They're forever looking, these commercial guys, for the next new thing, and I think it could be this, even though it's been around for years. They'll find something to work on and commercialise it, so it may end up being a bit more popular than it has been previously. So that's about the end of that one. It's just a quick update on what I've been doing. I'm doing quite a few brew days, but at some point I won't do them, because you get bored. You're just seeing the same old thing. You know, we've all mashed in, we've all sparged, we've all run off, etc. But it's new to me. It's given me something to put on, and hopefully one or two you might learn a few bits as I learn off yourselves, little bits and pieces that we do. So that's it for today, I think. We'll post this one up. Hopefully, if I can get the other bits in, you'll see a little bit of the brew day, but I've tried to keep it a lot shorter than we have done previously. So see you all later, and I'll probably post a tasting on this one in 3 or 4 weeks' time, all being well.